So, in the studio, joining us is Marc Glendening from one of my favourite think tanks, Institute of Economic Affairs. Marc, huge debate ongoing about trans issues. You've written a major report on this about why it's important we can have a proper debate about it. What's your report saying?
Well, primarily that the transgender ideology movement, which we have to distinguish from transgenderism, that's to say people choosing their own identity, which nobody has a problem with and shouldn't in an open society. But transgender ideology is very different in that it stipulates that the rest of society must conform their views and their judgments to those of this ideology. And so they are saying that there shouldn't be free speech on this issue because free speech is itself a violation of the rights of people who are trans. So that if I was to deny that you were, say, a woman, you were claiming to be a woman, they would say this was a human rights violation and should be prevented by law.
Why has this issue, why is it this issue which has become the red light for these sort of people? Because there are so many other areas where they could perhaps have waded in, but the trans issue has become huge now, almost out of all proportion when you consider how many people genuinely will identify as trans.
You have to see it, I think, in a broader context. Transgender ideology is part of a basket of new left perspectives, including, for example, critical race theory, extreme environmentalism, the campaign to decolonize the curriculum. All of these perspectives are about fundamentally bringing about a new type of society. It's a revolutionary creed that therefore cannot tolerate opposition.
I was just about to say, it's an intolerant creed.
It's totally intolerant because, and this is the key thing I would like to stress, new left ideologists, what I call the culture control left, believe that language is itself a form of power. It is itself a coercive power, and therefore the more you limit freedom of speech, the more free the society will become. It is a kind of proto-fascistic movement because it does see speech as being very dangerous.
But language is powerful, isn't it? So the first thing that any invading army or throughout history would do to colonise an area would be to take away their language. We even had to look at Ireland, OK, where the English did that. So we do have to admit that it has power, but somehow that power is being weaponised in the wrong direction, or in a direction that only benefits a few, the minority, the tyranny of the minority.
Yes, the point you make about colonising is very important because that is one of the first things any authoritarian regime will be to try and suppress intellectual challenge. You know, we saw this with the established church and Galileo, and we're now seeing a revival of pre-Enlightenment ideas about the power of language. For those liberals who helped to bring about the Renaissance and the Enlightenment, language was a liberating force. It wasn't a coercive force. It was the way in which we could exchange ideas about what is and what is not reality, that we could test theories.
So we lose free speech and free language at our peril, don't we?
But can I just say very briefly, because we're on press, just very quick on press time, people watching and listening to this, Marc, are so frustrated because they think this country is going completely mad. We can't talk about this, we can't say this. The intolerance. Is the government doing enough, in your view? Are ministers speaking out about it? Because people are so frustrated. They talked about it all the time.
No, they're not. And in fact, it's worse than that. This government is complicit with the new left. So, for example, just let me give you one example. There is a proposal which Boris Johnson wanted to enact in law, and then it was paused, but which this government is thinking of bringing back, that it should be illegal to have a private conversation with a trans person and to try to persuade them not to go down the road of sex change surgery. Keir Starmer has committed a future Labour government to introducing that into law.
OK, shocking. I'm so sorry, Marc Glendening, we're late for the news and Tamsin is waiting for us, so we do have to move on. Here is your news with Tamsin.